Hey guys, how you doing? It's your friendly neighbourhood DayVeeJay again, and I realised recently that it's been a while since we last looked at a title from my favourite man in blue and red tights. Not that one. And since we've already looked at all the webheads outings on PS1, might as well move on to those on PS2. The first of which, as it turns out, is the first of the Sam Raimi trilogy. Not that one! Man, I love those films, even though they do receive some, admittedly well-deserved criticism. I don't care what anyone says, Tobey Maguire will always be Peter Parker to me. None of this Tom Holland MCU bullshit, or whatever the hell this is supposed to be. Spider-Man, more like Spider-Chad if you ask me. Am I right, my fellow incels? But given how much I loved the film back in the day, it'll come as no surprise that I played the shit out of the game as well. But it's also been a little while since I last gave it a whirl. How does it hold up now? I don't know, let's put on our masks and web shooters and find out. But before we do that, we may have finally cracked 1,000 subscribers, but that doesn't mean my hunger has been sated. As I said last time, no matter how high that number climbs, I'm always like, more! So yeah, if you enjoy my content and have yet to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it if you would do so. And with that out the way, let's get into it. So Spider-Man, based on the 2002 film of the same name, was developed by Treyarch of Call of Duty fame and published by Activision. Puh. Yeah, I know, the final turd in the holy shit trinity. We already had Ubisoft with Ape Escape 2, then EA with James Bond, and finally we've got Activision, the three big players in the enshittification of the gaming industry. Yeah, I know there are others, but like I said, they're the main players, but that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, it was on PS2, Xbox, GameCube, Windows and Game Boy Advance, but we're mostly going to be focusing on the PS2 version, although we may look at the others because there are some differences between them. So we get started and see that we get a choice of either jumping straight into the story or going through a training program to show us the ropes, or the webs as it were. And you know what, I think we will do the training mode this time. Maybe then I'll actually know how to play the game and it won't be quite as hard as it has to be. Yeah, I've learned my lesson from Enter Electro. I know you can get the gun off Hammerhead, making the fight a whole lot easier. Yeah, I know I'm an idiot, you don't have to keep telling me! But yeah, it's a pretty standard training section. It takes you through movement, web swinging, combat, etc. All with the dulcet tones of the one, the only Bruce Campbell to keep us company.
Groovy.
That's right, we've got Ash Williams himself training us. So yeah, that's pretty cool. For about the first 2 or 3 lines. After which, if you're like me, you'll be begging for this guy to just shut the fuck up!
Up on the compass means forward to you. You follow me? Well, stop following me or I'll have you arrested. Now this doohickey is the height meter, not to be confused with the width meter. Ooh, that's some view, huh? Okay, not really, but hey, this is just training, right?
You know how in the 2000s they thought you could say any random shit in an awfully sarcastic voice and it'd be funny? Guess what? It wasn't! And it still isn't now! It just makes me want to ram my fist down your fucking throat! Oh well, at least it's just for the training mode, so let's just get this shit out the way and get into the game. Oh, and if that youthful voice sounds familiar, that's right, it's Peter Parker himself, Tobey Maguire, reprising his role from the films. So yeah, that's pretty cool as well. Although, as you can hear, it seems that just cause you're talented on camera doesn't necessarily mean that talent translates to when you're relying on just your voice.
This is incredible! Am I really doing this?
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, sadly the dialogue and line reading, particularly from old Toby here, is pretty cringe. And unfortunately we do have to put up with this for the entirety of the game. Anyway, with the training over with, we can finally get into the story, starting with tracking down the scumbag what I stole Uncle Ben. Man, how many times has Uncle Ben been whacked over the years? The poor old sod just can't catch a break, can he? You ever see this meme? Yeah, 100% accurate, am I right? But yeah, we've just got to swing around and beat the shit out of gang members, who once again apparently have nothing better to do than just hang around on random rooftops all day. Yeah, plenty of criminal opportunities to take advantage of up there. I mean, how did they even get up here? Are the staff not suspicious of all these roughnecks coming up through their building like, don't mind us, nothing illegal going on here? Anyway, the basic combat's pretty similar to the PS1 games. Very similar to the PS1 games, actually. In fact, it's almost exactly like the PS1 games. Seriously, you've got pretty much all the same attacks. You've got one button to punch, another to kick, and then another to web people up. It's even the exact same moves, obviously with new and improved animations, but still the same nonetheless. And you've also got the same advanced moves like jumping on their shoulders and the web dome and shit. I mean, couldn't you come up with some brand new basic attacks instead of just copying the ones from the previous generation of games? So yeah, like I said, the basic combat's pretty much the same as the PS1 games. The only real difference is that while you can web people up, it doesn't neutralise them. It just holds them there for a few moments until they break free and come after you again.
They didn't know anything, but I'm just getting started.
What do you mean they didn't know anything? You didn't even ask them anything! Anyway, you just go around brutalizing these guys, again all without asking them any questions, until finally one of them tells us the guy we're looking for is hiding out at a nearby warehouse, and we've just got to web swing over there, and that's the end of the level. Next up we're at the warehouse where the scumbag in question's hiding out, but we've also got more of his boys to deal with. But that's okay, cause turns out we can go all spider fisher and sneak by them. So that's cool, or it would be, if the stealth in this game wasn't completely pointless half the time. It's simple enough. As with the likes of Splinter Cell, when you're in shadows, which here means pretty much any spot what's even slightly murkier than the rest of your environment, then as if by magic, the bad guys just can't see you anymore, allowing you to sneak around them, which is fine enough on its own, but in the end doesn't really matter most of the time. I mean, it's not like you've got any kind of dedicated sneak attack like in the new Spidey games, what lets you take out the bad guys without making a sound. You've still got to beat them up to get rid of them, and as soon as you attack one, all the others immediately know where you are and come running. And trying to sneak around doesn't work because there's often no way to get through without being spotted. Take this first area for example. You've got a couple guys just wandering around aimlessly and you've got to go through this door to move on. Now you can get to the door without being seen by crawling around on the walls and ceiling, but when you go through there's a guy standing right there who spots you instantly, which then alerts everybody else, including the guys you just snuck past, completely defeating the purpose of trying to sneak by in the first place. I mean, why bother introducing stealth here if you're then going to set up the level so you can't be stealthy? And on top of that, when you do get spotted, the game actually has the goal to be like, oh, stealth failed, you suck, loser. Like, fuck you! You can't criticise me for failing something that I was set up to fail, you pricks! I mean, I tried over and over again to make sure I wasn't doing something wrong, and every time the guy was there and every time he spotted me. So what the fuck else am I supposed to do? Use my invisibility cloak? Well, sorry, I would, if I hadn't lent it to Harry this weekend to help him find the fucking Philosopher's Stone. So yeah, it would have been nice if they gave us a sneak attack so we could take guys out quietly one at a time. At least then the stealth might have felt a bit more meaningful. Oh my god, are you kidding me? We didn't leave this fucker behind in the training mode? We've still got to listen to him throughout the main game also? For fuck's sake, man. Just ram a fucking screwdriver through my ear, why don't ya? So with sneaking around being out of the question, that means your only option is to fight your way through. And guess what? This was where things started to get annoying. Jesus Christ, I'm a broken fucking record at this point. See, like I say, as soon as the enemies get so much as a hint of you, they're on you like greed on Ubisoft. They all gang up on you, and since we're now in a tighter space, it's harder to get away from them and easier to get overwhelmed. Especially since some of them have guns, which do quite a bit of damage even on lower difficulties. Particularly the guys with machine guns. Or this guy, fucking Max Payne motherfucker over here, fucking dual wielding and shit. You're not Master Chief, pal. So yeah, that's just something you've got to watch out for. Although we do have a couple more abilities from the PS1 games to help us out. You've got jumping attacks, which are nowhere near as effective here since you can barely even hit anything with them most of the time, even when locked onto an enemy. And you can also pick up and throw objects, although it can also be more annoying here since it's pretty hard to get away from these guys. And then you've got to go to the trouble of running over to an object, picking it up, getting yourself facing in the right direction and then throwing it. At which time the fuckers have already closed the distance and are now right up in your face, and they just end up knocking it out of your hands. Although you can also press the kick button next to an object to quickly launch it without aiming. Basically, your best bet here is to just keep moving around so you don't get ganged up on and keep throwing shit to thin the wankers out before they get near and overwhelm you. And make sure to take out the ones with guns as quickly as possible before they fill you full of lead. Then after all that, we finally find the sack of shit we're looking for, and it's time to dispense some good old-fashioned justice. But you've got to be careful, cause the guy's got a boomstick of his own with which he can easily drop your health with just a couple shots. And on top of that, we're in what's essentially a maze of crates with lots of tight spaces for you to get stuck in, where you can easily get turned into a human spider web if you're not careful. So again, you've just got to keep moving and hitting the guy a few times, then get out of there before you get blown away, and that's all there is to it.
No, you! Not you!
You want to try that line with a bit more feeling, Toby? I mean, no offense, but you show more emotion when the paparazzi are in your way.
Fuck out of the way! I can't see! There are cars there, motherfucker! Get out of the way! They're stopped for you.
Oh, and I like that, unlike in the film where the guy falls out the window because Peter's bearing down on him. Here, you're not even looking at him, and he still manages to fall out the fucking window because I guess he's just a massive klutz. And with all that over with, we jump forward in time a little ways. We've got the suit on and have fully embraced our new identity as the Webbed Warrior, bringing justice to the streets of NYC. But apparently not everyone's happy about that, because now we've got these flying Lego Bionicle, remember those? Robot things coming after us. Wait a minute, flying robots? I don't remember those from the film. Yeah, I guess since the first half doesn't really translate all that well to a video game. I mean, what are they gonna do? Have you play through Peter's graduation, getting a flat in the city, finding out Harry's boning his girl? Yeah, they had to come up with some new stuff to pad the story out, which we'll see a lot more of as we continue. Anyway, we've now got to take out these clankers, which brings us onto the aerial combat, which didn't really exist in the previous game, since I guess that was a little too complicated for the poor little PS1 to handle. But it's simple enough, you just swing around and press the button when you get near to hit them, or if you're further away, blast them with your web. The web swinging's fine enough for the time. It functions pretty much the same as on PS1, except faster and with smoother and more fluid animations. It's easy enough to do and it's got a decent amount of weight to it, although it's not terribly precise when you're trying to home in on a specific spot or enemy, although thankfully we do have a lock-on feature which makes up a lot for the lack of precision. So yeah, this bit was mostly fine, although it could be a bit annoying since these flying tin cans have a habit of bunching together and all opening fire on you at once when you go in to hit them, pretty much cutting you to pieces in an instant. So the best strategy is to stay away and destroy as many as possible with your webs to thin them out before mopping up the rest with your fists, which you'll probably end up having to do since as with the PS1 games, you've only got a finite amount of the white stuff. Which doesn't make much sense to me, since as we see in the film, this version of Spider-Man doesn't use web shooters, and instead generates his webs naturally. So why would he run out? Like, does he just have a limited supply or something? Like, after he's webbed everywhere, he runs dry and then has to wait a while to generate more? I don't know, but in any case, if you do run out, you can either wait for it to recharge slowly, or you can grab one of the blue spider things to instantly replenish it. Then you'll be shooting ropes again in no time. But anyway, we don't have time to go after whoever sent the robots, cause now we've got to catch a gang of robbers, led by the Shockmaster himself, Shocker. Oh, and, Vulture too. Yeah, not only is the story a bit different, but they also bring in some of the other classic villains. You bring the van to a stop, with your web. Whoa, that's some powerful fluid you got there, Peter. Impressive distance as well. And Shocker and his guys retreat into the train station or whatever, where we've got to take them out before they kill the poor innocent security guards and civilians. But as it turns out, there is more to the combat than what I've already mentioned, and actually, it's not completely the same as the PS1 games, since in addition to all your basic attacks, you've also got a whole load of different combo moves what you unlock over the course of the game by collecting the gold spider thingies. They're simple enough, they're just short 3-button combinations, although you do have to time them properly for them to work. Like you've got to leave, I don't know, a millisecond or two between each button press. If you hit the buttons super fast, which is easy to do if you're getting caught up in the action, then it just won't work. So that's just something to keep in mind. Oh, and I love this bit where you've got to save this thicko from being smushed by a giant pillar what Shocker hits, which he doesn't notice since he's too busy yakking on the phone. Like, seriously? I mean, yeah, I know phones have turned us into a race of smooth-brained farm animals, but being so absorbed that you fail to notice the colossal sonic boom literally directly above your fucking head? Never mind the fact that the lobby looks like it's just been through the bombing of fucking Dresden. Yeah, there's no hope for you. Might as well just let you get smoothied. Fuck, that'd be doing the world a bigger favour if you ask me. Then after that, Shocker retreats into the sewers. Yeah, you're not going to be any safer down there, mate. Didn't you know there's turtles down there what know martial arts and shit? They'll bray you all hour. And what's with these guys and hiding in sewers? It's like subconsciously they all know their true nature or something. From there's not a whole lot to say. You just beat up more guys as you pursue Shocker through the sewers.
Get back here, Shocker! Shocker! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
But there is something else I've been wondering about. What's with the sewers beneath New York in the Marvelverse? They're always just so vast and cavernous. Is this really what they're like? Is there just like a whole other city beneath the streets of the Big Apple? Like the Eternal Cities in Elden Ring or something? And I just realised we haven't really talked about the movement and controls yet, so we might as well do that now. Yeah, the movement's fine enough, although it's by no means perfect. And to be honest, in some ways, I actually think the PS1 games were a bit better. See, even though you're pretty fast and light here, it still feels a little clunkier than you might expect. Like, I just didn't feel like I was in as much control as I would have liked. It feels kind of floaty, whereas on PS1 you felt like you had a bit more weight, and it was just really hard to move with precision. Anyway, after all that, it's finally time to take on the shock jock himself. Oh god, this better not be as bad as the fight in Enter Electro. I hated that shit. But no, this fight's pretty simple, as are most of them really. First you're just running up these subway tracks while the wanker fires his shockwaves at you, and you've just got to take cover before they hit you. Then when you reach the top, it's just a matter of staying out of his way and beating the shit out of him when you get an opening, and that's all there is to it. And with one half of the Dick Brain duo brought to justice, it's now time to go after Old Man Vulture, whom we track down to this creepy old clock tower. 'Cause of course, I mean where the fuck else would he be hiding out? You couldn't pick a more obvious location if you tried. But again, there's not a whole lot to say here. You've just got to make your way up the tower, avoiding all the traps and shit he throws down on you until you reach the top, where rather than fight you, he pussies out and flies the nest. Then you've got to chase the wrinkled old pigeon across the city, and you've just got to stay close enough to him so he doesn't get away. You've just got to make sure your icon on the meter doesn't go all the way to the end, otherwise you lose the guy and have to start from the beginning. Every once in a while he'll damage stuff like water towers and shit, and you've got to web them up quickly to keep them from falling and crushing all the poor innocent bystanders below. All while Bird Brain here just flutters around waiting patiently for you to chase after him again. So let me get this straight. You damage shit to create a distraction, presumably to give yourself time to escape, but then, rather than escaping, you just hang around, waiting for me to fix it before coming after you again. Completely defeating the whole fucking purpose, you senile old fuck! Yeah, real criminal mastermind you are! That's some top tier Heisenberg level thinking right there! And since I just mentioned that you have to go back to the beginning if you lose the old bastard, might as well take the opportunity to talk about this shit. Yeah, once again, there's no checkpoints. Are you kidding me? Seriously, are you having a fucking laugh, mate? I mean, PS1 and N64, one thing. It's annoying as fuck there, but I get it. We were still pretty much in the dark ages in a lot of ways back then. But this is 2002. This is PS2. A whole new era. A new generation. And we're still having to put up with this shit? Again, are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, that's irritating. I mean, most of the levels aren't that long, but a couple are, like when you're chasing Shocker through the sewers. Just why, when we're on PS2, did they think it was acceptable to not have checkpoints? Just seems like something that should be standard by this point, like annoying enemies in FromSoft games, or dumbass shit in every new Call of Duty they churn out. Oh, hello again, Activision. Anyway, you eventually end up at the Chrysler building or whatever, and now you've got to fight the old buzzard. And this is simple enough. His health's divided into two sections, blue and red, and all you've got to do is just hit him with your webs or aerial attacks until the blue bit empties. Then he lands and you can beat the shit out of him to take down the red, until the blue refills and he takes off again. Rinse and repeat. Then next we're fighting Scorpion, and this was where the game was really starting to feel super samey. I mean, it's pretty much just the same as everything that's come before. You just braid Bug Boy all over while destroying these shitty little miniature Spider Slayer things what are after the two of you. And that's it. Hell, they even reused the train station area from earlier for a boss fight, which is no different than anything else we've faced up to this point. Yeah, it really feels like they couldn't think of what to do before Green Goblin turns up, so they just decide to grab a few random villains and throw them in without writing a coherent story around them. Which wasn't so much a big deal back in the day, but now doesn't really feel all that compelling. Then after we've dealt with Scorpion, finally the Green Goober himself decides to grace us with his presence. First up we get the cutscene where Ozzy Osbourne gets given the Hulk serum and goes beast mode, and then makes his grand entrance at the parade or whatever. And first we've got to save that silly old dumbass in distress Mary Jane, which is easy enough. You just have to jump down onto the panda blimp thing and throw her ass over your shoulder and then dump her on top of some random building and let her find her own way down, I guess. Yeah, great job, Spidey. That's real helpful of you. Although, to be honest, she doesn't seem to mind. Oh, I bet Peter's gonna be spinning some webs tonight. Then next, you fight the guy while he flies around damaging shit for you to fix before the time runs out and people get smushed. But turns out that was just the starter, the appetizer if you will, because then you've got to fight the prick again straight after. And this is the real boss fight, the main course. Although it's pretty much identical to the fight with Vulture. He's flying around on his rocket toy hoverboard thing, throwing his jack-o'-lantern bombs at you, and again you've just got to take down his blue health to get him off the glider, and then beat the fuck out of him to drain his red health. But whereas Vulture was a piece of piss, I mean come on, just look at the old fuck. This motherfucker's the real deal. Seriously, it's almost impossible to lay a finger on this guy. You throw a single punch at him and he just bodies you instantly. It was to the point that in the end I didn't even bother trying to hit him and just webbed all over him until he ran away. Which, to be honest, is pretty understandable. I mean, I'd probably run away if someone tried to web all over me. And from there, again, there's not a whole lot to say. It's just one battle with Green Goblin after another. First he's flying around planting bombs everywhere what you've got to disarm, all while you've got more of these bionicle things coming after you. And this was annoying, because since you don't have long to disarm the bombs, naturally you're going to try to get to them as quickly as possible and not waste time destroying the robots. But if you don't take out at least some of them, then just like before, they can gang up on you and cut you to pieces in almost an instant. Then you've got this bit where he sends like 50 fucking golden snitches or whatever with razor blades attached for you to destroy. Yeah, that's literally all you have to do. Just destroy these little pieces of shit while Flyboy here just flies around like the flying fucko that he is. So yeah, once again, it really felt like they couldn't figure out how to put together a coherent narrative, so again, just decide to have one fight with Goblin after another with barely any story to go along with it. But eventually we do start to go somewhere since we figure out that the golden snitches came from Oscorp, so that must be where the rest of the Goblin's toys are from. And now we've got to break in to figure out who he is. And you know what that means? It's time for another stealth mission! Oh joy! But as it turns out, this one is actually set up much better than the previous one, and you can actually sneak around and avoid detection, and you pretty much have no choice but to this time. You won't fail if you get the alarm raised on you, nothing like that. Nah, you'll just die. How? Well, we'll see shortly. So anyway, again, we've just got to go all Spider Fisher, avoiding the security guards and cameras and shit, and assemble a code to get further into the facility. And it's simple enough. Like most stealth games, it's just a matter of watching the guards and memorizing their patterns before making your move, getting pieces of the code off the computers what have been conveniently left on and unlocked after hours. Oh, somebody's gonna be getting a good Raimi for that. GDPR's no joke, you know. Oh, and I love this. Watch the guards when they turn around. Yeah, look at that. They do that every single time as well. Every time they're like, whoa, is someone there? Oh, thank God it was just my mind playing tricks on me. Who's there? I'll fuck you up, motherfucker! Oh, must have just been the wind. But yeah, you've just got to grab the pieces of the code from the computers, but you've got to make sure to time it right, because it takes a few moments to get the fragments, and if you don't pick the right time, a guard can come back and catch you before you're done, and if he raises the alarm, then all hell breaks loose, and you've got these fucking I don't know, 100 motherfuckers coming after you. What are these, the latest models of Elon's robot army he wants to replace us all with? Well, it shouldn't be that hard then. Can they even stand up properly? Yeah, they might look a little goofy, but don't be fooled, cause these clankers mean business. Seriously, it's to the point where if you get the cavalry called on you, your best and pretty much only bet is to either hide and wait out the alarm until they fuck off back to their charging ports or whatever, or reload the save state if you're on emulator, cause as soon as the toasters get so much as a bead on you, they'll turn you into a human spider-sized pincushion. But anyway, once you've got all the pieces of the code, you just assemble them in the right order and then you can get through the door. And now we get to see where the real magic happens. And it's really just more of the same. You just crawl around on the walls and ceiling to avoid the guards and cameras and shit. Oh, and you've also got laser tripwires to avoid now as well. Now that's some Resident Evil laser hallway shit right there. Well, without the daft early 2000s CGI gore, of course. But I guess they felt all this sneaking around would probably get boring, so in the next bit we run into this friendly looking chap. Yeah, I guess this is like the super mega ultra giga clanker or whatever, and something tells me he's not gonna let us walk on through without a fight. So this is by far the most unique boss fight in the whole game, and the most annoying. Rather than fight the big fucker directly, you first gotta wreck all the shield generator pylon things dotted around the room, all while getting shot at by little fuckers and turrets and whatnot. And you can barely stay still for 2 seconds cause you've just got so much shit shooting at you. And again, it doesn't take them long to completely blitz your health if you're not careful. But most annoying of all, he's also got this big ass, appendage. Wow, that's a pretty impressive gun you've got there, mate. Wouldn't be, overcompensating for anything with that. I am a big man, yes I am, and I got a big gun. Got me a big old dick, and I like to have fun. But anyway, if you move far enough away from the giant prick, he opens fire with his big, hard, girthy weapon and pretty much obliterates you if you get hit. Which wouldn't be too bad, except for the fact that some of the generators are literally on the other side of the room, so you've got no choice but to go over there. And again, it's pretty hard to avoid getting railed by the big old boy, especially since you've got to stop still for a couple moments to destroy each pylon. Anyway, after you manage to destroy the pylons, you just have to destroy the brain, I guess. And there you go. Then with that finally out the way, you make it to Osborn's office, where you find out that the Goblin's been perving on you and Mary Jane, and is after her next. So now we've got to go and save her. But before we do that, let's take a time out to look at the presentation side and compare the versions on other platforms. The graphics are honestly pretty great for the time. They're a lot more realistic looking than the PS1 games, I guess to match the look of the films, and the environments and character models are a lot more detailed. Look, they actually move their lips now! Man, technology, eh? Whatever will they come up with next? One thing I was particularly impressed by was the look of the cityscapes during the exterior levels. They just look so detailed and expansive. Like obviously it's not open world, and you're limited to just a small area, but when you look off into the distance, it really does look like you can go there. And you can see all the cars moving down below as well. They did a good job of emulating a full city, even though it's little more than window dressing at the end of the day. And comparing the graphics between the different versions, of course Xbox comes out on top. Not surprising considering it was the most powerful of the 6th generation consoles. Although to be honest, the differences are barely noticeable unless they're compared side by side or if you look really close. Just the lighting and textures are a bit more detailed, but that's about it. As we heard earlier, the voice acting, well it ain't great, even by the standards of the time, but even worse is the fact that the worst of it is from actual big names like Tobey Maguire and Willem Dafoe reprising his role from the film. Although to be honest, I could hardly tell since it doesn't really sound that much like him, to the point that if I didn't know better, you could tell me it was just a guy doing a bad Willem Dafoe impression and I'd believe you. Yeah, like I said before, I guess just cause you're good in one medium doesn't automatically mean you're good in others. Although I have heard Willem Dafoe do a better job in other games, like Everything or Nothing, so who knows, maybe he just didn't give a shit here or something. Although to be fair, it's not like the material they had to work with was exactly A grade. Yeah, the dialogue itself isn't very good either, and at times is even cringier than in the film.
It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
I mean, Spider-Man's always been known for his funny wisecracks, right? Well, just get a load of some of these zingers.
Who are you? No, wait. Let me guess. The Emerald Elf? So you must be Quilt Man, Padded Pete, Mr. Triple Ply? Oh, I've got it. The Cushion. Hey, come back. The food at the old folks' home wasn't that bad, was it?
Jesus, some of these are as bad as Bruce Willis's one-liners from Apocalypse.
I'll see you in hell. Strap one on. It's time to jam.
Oh, you want some? Oh, you want some too?
And now we're done.
Not a huge amount to say about the soundtrack. It's pretty standard for this type of game, and it does the job well enough. That's all there is to say, really. And before we move on to the finale, we got to address the biggest difference between the console versions. See, in addition to Shocker, Vulture and Scorpion, the Xbox version gave us one more classic villain with Kraven the Hunter. Well, I guess the guys and gals over at Treyarch and Activision had a favourite console, squirreling Kraven away for the Microsoft fanboys, while us Sony dick riders had to make do with these three jokers. But anyway, about halfway through the story, Osborn hires Kraven, looking like he just walked off the set of a sleazy 70s porno to capture Spider-Man, and he lures you to the zoo with his Spidey Signal Clan Cross combo thing, where he then infects you with some poison shit, and forces you to go through this whole deadly obstacle course to get the antidote. But as it turns out, Kraven wasn't the only classic character they held back for the Xbox release. Yeah, it turns out the MS fanboys also got J. Jonah Jameson, and oh my god, that voice!
What are you doing here? Why aren't you down at the zoo getting me pictures of this?
But I just...
Doesn't anyone do...
Yeah, something tells me they were unable to get J.K. Simmons to come in to reprise the role, but couldn't they have at least gotten someone who sounded somewhat like him? I mean, that face with that voice is just not working for me. But yeah, the Kraven levels are simple enough. The first one just has you going through this whole obstacle course, avoiding all the shit in your way. Standard stuff. Although you also have these bits where you switch to the hunter's perspective while he's aiming at you with his sniper rifle, and you've got to take cover behind the pillars before he shoots you. So that's pretty cool, not something you see every day. Then next, you've got to fight him, and again, it's just a matter of beating the shit out of him. The only unique aspect is sometimes he'll take some kind of potion what makes him invincible for a few minutes, so you've got no choice but to run away from him, and that's it. And with that done with, it's time to get back to the main story, where we swing like the wind over to MJ's place, only to find that we're too late. And man, look at this place. I mean, who the hell has a jukebox in their place? Anyway, we've now got to chase down Gobby and save MJ, and this was probably the most annoying part of the whole game for me. It's just another chase bit, like with Vulture, but this one's a lot harder, to the point that making so much as a single wrong move is enough for the fucker to give you the slip. It's honestly pretty ridiculous how easy it is for him to get away from you, which of course means you have to start right back from the beginning again. But you know what the most annoying thing of all is? It says you've lost him, but you can literally still see the wanker in the distance! How can I lose him when he's literally right fucking there? Are you fucking me? What the In the script I meant to write, are you kidding me, or are you fucking kidding me, or something. But I've written, are you fucking me? And I've just noticed. For fuck's sake, man. Anyway, with that shit out the way, it's now time to save Mary Jane and put an end to the Jolly Green fucker's reign of terror once and for all. And considering this is meant to be the final battle, it's got to be the most underwhelming final battle I've ever seen, since it's pretty much no different to everything else that's come before. First off, we've got to save MJ, and this is simple as. Seriously, all you've got to do is just swing up to the bridge, grab her, and then dump her ass on the bridge, and there you go. Well, at least this time you don't leave her hanging around on some random rooftop. And then we've just got to beat the shit out of old Kermit the fuck over here, and there's not much to it. Again, he's got the blue and red bar. You take down his blue health to get him off the glider, and then you hit him until all his red health is gone, and there you go. Yeah, like I say, real epic fight. Move over Battle of Hogwarts, Helm's Deep, or Endor. This is the real battle to end all battles. Hell, even the final fight in fucking Twilight's got more going for it.
Mr. Osborn. Why?
Wow, Toby. Great reaction to finding out your best friend's dad is an evil psychotic monster. I can practically feel the heartbreak and disbelief through the screen. Anyway, he tries to stab us in the back. Literally, only to end up stabbing himself in the front like a total denser. Yeah, not quite as impactful as in the film, if I do say so. He flatlines, Mary Jane gives you a kiss, with her nose apparently, and that's that.
Looks like you're done now. Go outside and play.
Wait, what? Outside? Play? Who ever heard of such a thing? Well, I guess I could give it a try. I mean, how bad can it be? Right? So yeah, that's the end. But that's not all. Oh no, me old mate. Oh no, we're not done yet. See, turns out there's a whole bunch of unlockable extras. We've got a load of cheats what have all kinds of weird and wonderful effects on gameplay. You can play the whole game as Wrestler Spidey or Peter Parker. Yeah, you can have Peter rescue Mary Jane unmasked and she still doesn't know who he is. Man, if that doesn't kill your self-esteem, nothing will. Hell, you can even play as Mary Jane and have her save herself. Oh yeah, baby, that's what I like to see. You can give the enemies big heads, play as a miniature Spidey, make it go all slow motion like the Matrix. But most importantly, if you complete the game on hard, which I absolutely did, no cheating here, you can be sure of that. You can actually play as Green Goblin himself. So yeah, we're now playing as the main green bombing machine, complete with glider and pumpkin bombs. But what I didn't remember from back in the day is that you're not actually playing as Norman himself, but instead Harry, with his own story and voice acting. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference, you're still just playing through the single player campaign again, just rejigged a little to make it about Harry instead. But yeah, now you can just go racing around New York on your glider, blowing fuckers away with your Jacko bombs and missiles and shit. Yeah, no more of that wimpy friendly neighbourhood shit. Now the criminal scum of NYC will taste real power.
Now I'm playing with power!
So yeah, you're pretty much just a god among men now. Although you're not unstoppable, and the bad guys are still more than capable of smiting you if they gang up on you, especially on higher difficulties, so you do still need to be careful. You can't just throw all caution to the wind. Although in most cases, you can just use your pumpkin bombs to nuke the arseholes from the face of the earth. Just make sure you're not too close to the ground, otherwise you'll end up torching yourself as well. And if you don't feel like being a lazy fucker, flying around everywhere on your glider, you can also go on foot and use your fists. Though I admit I was disappointed to find that you have just all the same attacks as Spidey, and none of the super roided up WWE moves as the main wanker. Although you do have super speed, where you move so fast you literally set the ground on fire with every step and can smash through any douchebag in your way. And you can also summon the killer golden snitches to help you out as well. And of course, eventually the real Goblin turns up, so now it's time for a bit of good old elder abuse, which quickly turns into child abuse because he still just fucks you up like Kratos versus fucking Jigglypuff or some shit. You go sneaking around Oscorp again, quite a bit harder this time considering you can no longer crawl on the walls and ceiling, but who gives a shit when you can just go around slaughtering everything in your path? Then of course we get the final confrontation between father and son, and oh my god, I can't wait to see the end. I wonder if it's gonna be all like, "You killed my father!" But then Goblin's like, "No, Harry, I am your father." And then Harry's like, "No, that's not true! That's impossible!" Well, if you're like me, you're gonna be sorely disappointed, cause sadly no, there is no big devastating reveal. Nah, once you're done brain dear old daddy all over, it just stops. Cause I guess they just couldn't be asked to write a brand new cutscene that fits into Harry's storyline. Which to be honest, fair enough, whatever. And that's that. So that was Spider-Man on PS2, and in conclusion, yeah, I think it holds up pretty well. I can definitely see why I used to play it so much back in the day. It hasn't aged gracefully on every front, the controls and movement are a bit janky, the story's pretty samey, the writing's lackluster, and the voice acting, particularly from the leads, is atrocious, but on the whole it is fun enough to look past all that, for the most part. The graphics and animations were pretty impressive for the time, and do a good job of showcasing just how big the leap was between PS1 and 2. Unlike today where you can barely tell the difference between PS4 and 5 unless you squint hard at it, and even then that's sometimes not enough. Gameplay wise, I was a little disappointed that the combats lifted pretty much wholesale from the PS1 games, especially when some things don't work as well here as they did back then. But the addition of the unlockable combos and aerial combat and whatnot does elevate it a bit, even if most of the boss fights, particularly the final boss, are pretty basic and underwhelming. I also like the fact that they brought in a few of the other classic villains to pad out the story before Green Goblin turns up, although I wish they could have come up with a more coherent narrative to go along with them, which would have helped make them feel a bit more compelling. But ultimately, even though it is flawed, I still think the game serves as a decent enough companion to the film, and if you've never given it a go, I would recommend you do so. So I've looked at the main console versions, but we've still yet to give the Game Boy version a try, so we might as well do that now. So we get started with an admittedly pretty impressive rendering of footage from the movie, at least for portable gaming tech at the time. I'm always surprised by stuff like this, cause like I've said before, I didn't actually play a whole lot of Game Boy back in the day. Then we get into the gameplay, and to be honest, I've got to say, this is definitely one of the better Game Boy ports I've looked at. The graphics are decent enough for the time, they're bright and colourful, and the gameplay is pretty good too. It's just your standard side-scroller, but you've got a decent range of abilities. You can crawl on walls and ceilings, you can web swing, you can beat up bad guys and web them up, and I love when you beat the shit out of them, you get the little comic book style words for sound effects. That was a nice touch. Oh, and I like the way you move when you crawl. It just has this kind of animalistic look to it, like you're playing as an actual spider instead of a human being. But you know what I like most of all? Checkpoints. Yeah, we actually have checkpoints here. Yeah, while the main console version's fucking us over, making us go back to the start of the level, these guys actually know what they're about and how annoying that shit is. Yeah, I just can't get over the fact that the Game Boy version, which is always just a quick afterthought just to make some extra money, actually thought to include something as basic and fundamental as checkpoints. While that shit's just absent from the main version. Just, what the fuck, man? Anyway, the first level's pretty simple. You've just got to take out a bunch of guys and save some hostages. But then all of a sudden a fucking building explodes and our friendly neighbourhood here is like, you know what, I think it might be a good idea to go climbing around in there. So yeah, now you're inside this burning, collapsing building, and you've got to make it to the end to escape before the ceiling falls in and crushes you like the bug you are, all while ignoring all the perfectly good windows you can easily jump out of. Yeah, something tells me this version of Spidey's a bit lacking in the brains department. And for some reason, we've also got the Men in Black after us. I mean, look at this guy, he's literally Agent J. Then after that, you've got to fight Vulture, which is easy enough. You've just got to wait for him to swoop down and smack him round his ugly bald dome. Oh, and I love the sound he makes when he hits you. He literally sounds like an actual fucking bird. Anyway, that's about as far as I got before I gave up. But like I said, this is one of the better Game Boy ports I've looked at, and I could see myself enjoying it on a long car journey back in the day. And that's that. So that's our look at the game of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Once again, apologies that it's taken a bit longer than usual. If you've been keeping an eye on the channel, you'll probably know that I'm gearing up for the release of my science fiction story, Spirited, so that's where most of my effort is being focused right now. Take a look at the video if you want to know more. And don't worry, I'm still chugging away at the videos and hopefully I'll be back to my regular schedule soon. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then leave a like. If you didn't, then tell me to go fuck myself. If you enjoy my content and have yet to subscribe, I would very much appreciate it if you would do so. And as always, thank you so much to everyone who already has. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you in the next one.